What is going on, Amazon sellers? Welcome back to the Wednesday version of the Amazon Q&A show, where we share some e-commerce news, the occasional business maxim, and answer your questions about selling on Amazon. So if you are curious about retail arbitrage, have a question about online arbitrage, wholesale, or perhaps you just have a Keepa quandary, well, drop it in the chat and we'll help any way we can. Now, for those of you who may be new here, my name is Chris Grant, and to my right is my animadversive co-host, Chris Rasick. Chris, how's Wednesday treating you, man?
Wednesday is pretty good. Yeah, not a lot of inventory yet, but that'll come. The night is young yet. But hey, so funny story. I was upstairs using the restroom and just swung by. My daughter has play practice. My older daughter has play practice, so she's very busy right now. The shows are coming up this weekend. So the little one is just kind of vegging out, right? So I stopped in, and she has a bunk bed, right? She's up in the top bunk, just bed rotten with her tablet. And I don't know if my treatment of Luke is any kind of indication, but I kind of like to pick on people a little bit. So I'll approach her, kind of like with monster hands and stuff. And like she rolls all the way to the wall and screams. And it's just this fun little thing that we do. And so she screamed and she starts yelling, "Mommy, Mom," right, like something a little bit different. So I didn't think anything of it. I go downstairs and I get a text from my mom. And she says, "I just got a text message from Piper asking for help." And so, and she goes through, she said, Piper texted me and said, will you kick Daddy's butt for me? He's being mean. So she says, like, shame on you or something. So to recap, my 7-year-old told my mommy on me.
That's a serious problem. That's a get rid of the devices kind of problem.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna have to be a little extra mad at the next minor thing that she does, just to punish her, so I can get my mom off my back a little bit.
Right.
So real quick, this is more for the audience than it is for you. But anybody on Twitter, I'm not sure where else he posted it. I saw it on Facebook. But make sure you go out and like Chris Grant's video so that he is encouraged to do more of them. Should we call those, what are they, TED Walks?
Sure, we could call those TED Walks. Yeah.
Yeah. So he, if you haven't seen it yet, check it out. Go to his socials. Talks about, he kind of relays an incident that he had to talk to his son about, and kind of relays it to Amazon selling. And it's an important point, and I appreciate the parallel. So give him a little bit of love on social media, because I like this idea. I think it's a good mix to get a little walking and thinking and talking business. I dig that kind of content. So I am all for you doing more of that.
Well, I mean, credit where it's due. It was your idea. So today when I was out walking, I was listening to a new podcast that Grant Owen just dropped, which, and I don't know who knows Grant. He used to be an Amazon seller, and then he decided to get into the content game and started an agency. And I like Grant, really good guy. Anyway, I was listening to his podcast that he just dropped. You and I have a podcast, and we enjoy it. I think because we both enjoy, although we are both introverts, I think we do enjoy the art of conversation. And his podcast is excellent. It was good content, number one. Not for everybody. It's not going to be something a lot of Amazon sellers really resonate with, but it was good content. However, over I think 2 episodes, he said he's dropped $11,000. And the editing, the uh the shots, like, I mean, it is next level production. Um
Wow.
I was on like step 9,000, and I was just finishing up that podcast, and I was thinking about it. And I was like, you know what? I was like, Chris told me I should do something like this, and I was like, let's just do it. I hate it. I don't really enjoy it. I feel cringe doing it. And I even apologized for the LinkedIn style hook, which was not it was not on purpose, but I thought it was important to the story. And I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it now because I think I kind of like this framework. I call it the FUD framework. FUD, fear, uncertainty, doubt. Um, One of the things that I like to do on the way to school every morning, one of the reasons that I'm adamant about driving the kids to school is it gives us some time away from devices. It gives us some time to just talk. And even though I don't tell my son that I'm trying to help him kind of go after his day with intention. That's kind of the point of the conversation every morning. And also to, to get our fears, uncertainties, and doubts about the day, especially as someone who is, in their pubescent years, there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt about all kinds of things, whether it's friends or girls or whatever it is. Um, and then I want to share with them, well, let's focus on what's in our locus of control, and let's get rid of the things and not worry about the things that we have no influence over. um and the reason that got me thinking about Amazon is just because I've seen a lot of complaints lately about things that are completely out of our control. We can't control what Amazon does to the increase in um, uh, fees. We can't control a lot of things, but what we can control is the margins when we source a product.
Mhm.
We can control how many times we ask Amazon for a reimbursement. Like, we can control those things. Um, and I don't know. I just think if we accepted the things that are outside of our locus of control and doubled down on the things that we can control, we would see growth a lot faster and probably get rid of a lot of the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that probably take up a lot of our mental bandwidth as sellers and business owners.
Yeah, and we have enough to do, to be honest.
Yeah.
There's enough actual work, actual things that we should be focusing that energy towards. Um, it's. I think I took to Stoic philosophy quickly because I had a lot of those similar thoughts already. Like things had just occurred to me, and then I love when you think of something and then you find a name for it later on, and you're like,
Mhm.
oh, I feel like it just closes the loop, like, okay, this is a real thing, I didn't just make this up. So it's a bit of reassurance. um and that occurred to me in my personal life. Like I found myself, I'm kind of easily prone to anxiety, and I'm very much in my own head, and things will just kind of spin if I don't try to keep it under control. And that was one of the practices that I tried to force myself to do, is recognize the things I can't control. And I remember telling people, even like as a teenager or in my early 20s, that like, you're worrying about something that you don't even know yet. Like it's like getting blood work done. If you don't feel well and you get blood work, and then there's that wait until you got to wait a couple days for the results to come back. Are you going to sit there and go through WebMD and figure out all the things that you might have? Like how is that a productive exercise? I mean,
Mhm.
it's worry just for worry's sake.
Absolutely.
So then when Ryan Holiday kind of rolled out Stoic philosophy in bite-sized pieces like he did. It was like the light bulb went off, and it's like, yeah, exactly, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I got to say, he's a national treasure. I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's pop stoicism and all that stuff, but nah, Ryan Holiday is a national treasure.
yeah. Well, the thing is, who are the people saying it's pop stoicism? Are they like legit practicing Stoics? No, they just want to criticize because there's something a little bit it's a little bit easier to digest than like, well, if you want to be a Stoic, you should read Epictetus and meditations, and it's like, shut up, like this is like, wouldn't you rather have people move to stoicism and find something that helps them, and regulates emotions, and kind of tightens that chart a little bit as far as our emotional reactions and our usefulness of those reactions.
Mhm.
um or are we supposed to just say, well, he doesn't have like a degree or anything, so I'm not going to read this crap? No, get
Right.
out of here with that.
Yeah. All right, let's answer some questions, and then we've got a few pieces of news for you guys. And Polly, I agree. Yeah, car talks are the best. Now I'll tell you what. Before we get to your guys' questions, I'm gonna say this one more time. um, we did a mega stream the other week. I've mentioned it a few times on the show, but Chris is awful close to his goal of raising money for Movember. And if you don't know what that is, it's an organization that raises money to help with men's mental health and men's health. Think prostate cancer, colon cancer, all those testicular cancer, all those things that men deal with, and does a lot of good in the world. Now, last week or on Sunday, I offered a couple of things. I offered a lead list with $1,000 minimum profit on it to anyone who donated $100. Now that's going to go out by Friday. I'm actually probably going to get that out tomorrow. I offered a ticket to our sourcing mega stream, which happened this past Monday. That was 6 hours of Chris and I sourcing, and uh, it was good, honestly. Chris mentioned, we were going to try to focus on numbers as much as we possibly could, but I couldn't help it. I went into some teaching mode, so there's a little bit of that in there. Chris, I don't know what you ended up with at the end of your sourcing session.
It was 295 total number.
295. Okay. So I think over the 6 hours, we ended up with somewhere in the range of $700 or maybe $650 in total. Do you use the buying 5 units, or is it just 1 unit? Yeah. So of all the things we found over that time, you'd be able to make about $700 in profit. And we go through all of the things that we think about when we source. So you get two different perspectives. Well, I'll give you a replay to that, and then I will also give you a brute force ungating guide. It's a list of 4,000 brands that I've got ungated in the past year, and also how to go out and find brands that you can get ungated in without any invoices or anything like that. 4 people took me up on that offer. If you are still wanting to take advantage of that, I will get you the replay. I'll get you the brute force ungating guide. I'll get you the lead list, but you got to donate $1,000. There's a link down here. There's a QR code up there. Yeah,
$100.
$100. Yes. What did
Not
I say?
$1,000. You
Yeah.
said
Sorry. Got to donate $100.
Have you been saying that all along? Maybe that's why only 4 people took you up on it.
Right. Donate $100, and I will make sure that you get paid back 10x in the value of leads. Now that is limited to 10 people, so there's like 6 spots left. If you want to grab one now, and I'll make sure to get that out to you. So
Yeah, you know what? I know the intro chatty portion of the show is already longer than normal, but if I could just take a couple more minutes. This relates to Amazon selling too, and I'm gonna write this out on Facebook too, but somebody a loved one of mine, somebody in my family that's very close to me last year. Um, last year I raised $7,104, and it was by far the record. Right, it's the most I'd ever raised, and I was ecstatic. Like it made me so happy. It reached a level I didn't think was possible. Right, so I'm on this high right after early December, and so I'm talking to this family member, and I'm doing what I think is going to kind of share in my enthusiasm, and this person says, oh, that's great. Wow, like wow, I can't believe it. You really killed it this year. Blah blah blah. So there was a little bit of that, and then she says, but what are you going to do next year? And I was like, I kind of laughed. I was like, well, I've got 11 months to worry about it. And then she doubled down and she said, that's the trouble with hitting a big goal like that. And Chris, I can't tell you how much I hate that sentence. That sentence entered my ears and burrowed itself in my head. I'm surprised how many times I've thought about it over the past year. And it's not only is it the wet blanket effect of something that I was very, very happy about. It was the exact limiting belief mentality that I've been trying to break myself since I noticed it within my family. It's like, how could that, like, that's the trouble. Like, it's all about trouble, but the point is, it's not about us, like I look ridiculous, like that's a little bit of trouble. I try not to have any pictures taken for this entire month, because this is stupid looking. That's a little bit of trouble, but that's not the point. Last Wednesday, we were on for 4.5 hours. That's a little bit of trouble, but that's not the point. 6 hours on Monday sourcing, because it was tied into, part of that was tied into this fundraising effort. That's a bit of trouble, but not the point. Like I hate that sentence, so if I can, I want to appeal towards, a donation in honor of an abundance mentality as opposed to limiting beliefs. I've wavered because I've held this grudge for 11 months, and I said, I'll show her, and I was in doubt for a while, but you guys, the community really came through, and it's within reach, and I want it really, really bad. So, if you want to cast your vote towards the power of an abundance mentality, this is a great time to do it.
Yeah, we're gonna drag this thing over the finish line. I don't care what we have to do. All right, and Mike, I see your question. I'll get to that here as well. I need to answer some of these other questions. So Rodrigo, hey guys, do you pay for any subscriptions like Seller Basics or Jeff Schick? Yeah, I do. And I'll tell you why. I can handle 99% of the stuff that gets thrown at me. Inauthentic complaints, copyright complaints, whatever, all that stuff. I've handled all of them. Suspensions, knock those out. Section 3s, whatever. I'm a Teflon Don when it comes to account health for the most part. However, the one place that I lack in is my Juris Doctorate comes from the University of Google rather than some prestigious law school. And so I cannot reach out to the legal department at Amazon. I have emails for a bunch of other departments at Amazon, but they will not talk to me because I do not have a law degree. Seller Basics and Jeff Schick, they both have that ability. They can reach out to the legal department and actually get a response. So that is my kind of ace up the sleeve, and the reason that I do keep somebody on retainer.
Yeah, and it's not only the ability to reach out to Amazon Legal, uh, the connection that they have.
Yeah.
It became very evident. And I haven't checked the numbers, but the interview that we did with Paul Rafelson from Seller Basics, and the interview just went out today. We talked to Joy from Seller Basics. Both of those are worth a watch. But Paul I think he made it very clear um, how valuable his service is, just through the stories that he was telling. And not only does he know who to talk to, he knows how to talk to them. You know, so that is it's a bargain, all things considered.
Con, why don't big suppliers want to finalize deals with new sellers? It is likely, it's likely a multi-pronged issue. One, a lot of times, so the majority of a cost of a new customer is on the front end. Now, maybe you reached out to them and maybe they don't really have any customer acquisition cost because you found their name on Google or something like that. However, they're going to invest time in setting up the account, vetting the account, going through everything with you, sending you paperwork, all of that stuff. So even though there may not be a customer acquisition cost in the terms of outbound marketing, there is a customer acquisition cost in terms of employee time spent on the account, et cetera, instead of servicing current accounts. And oftentimes, newer sellers either don't buy anything or want to get discounts on their very first purchase, or they don't really bring any value to the business. That is that's the interesting thing about wholesale compared to retail arbitrage, online arbitrage. 99% of the time, we don't really need to bring value to the table to the retailer that we're buying from. Our value is that we are taking items that they are selling off the shelf and they want to turn inventory over. That's really the value. Now, we can provide more value by maybe talking to managers and saying, "Hey, could I make an order from you guys? Could I work with you on buying larger quantities of things like clearance, et cetera?" And you could bring some value to a retail establishment that way. But to a wholesale distributor or a brand, the value needs to be more. Like, you're gonna spend big dollars. You're gonna pay in cash on time. You're going to increase sales velocity of a particular brand, and a lot of times the the cost to bring on a newer seller is going to be low now, or sorry, is going to be high compared to other things that they could do. Now, does that mean that you should give up? No, absolutely not. Find out. Like, a no is just a no right now. It is not a no forever. And a no, in my opinion, is an opportunity to learn. Hey, I totally get it. You're not interested right now. If you don't mind, just so I can become better, what is it that makes you not want to do business with me at this current juncture? And then listen. And I mean, if it hurts, it hurts. Like, we got to have thick skin. But they'll probably tell you some reasons, even if they don't tell you 100% of the truth. Maybe they give you 30% of the truth. And then you can go and you can fix your pitch. And then, like I said, a no right now is not a no forever. The follow up question to that is, hey, I totally understand that it's a no right now. How would you feel about me following up with you in 60 days from now and see if things are different? All right. That gets you a yes. That leaves the door open for later on down the road. If you're going to get into wholesale, I would highly suggest that you read some sales books. Um, I mean, you could start with Jeffrey Gitomer if you wanted to. You could start with, I'm trying to think of some of the greats. I mean, you could start with some Dale Carnegie, but find some sales books, and none of whatever these kids are teaching about doing over the phone setting. Okay. None of this, this stuff where you're hard closing or anything like that. Some legitimate sales books, sales fundamentals that have worked throughout generations.
Yeah, or Chris Voss is a good place to start too.
Oh, yeah.
His book might be the only one you need, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not too different from a new seller being frustrated sourcing. I tend to think most of the time we just don't realize how many reps it's going to take to finally hit a winner. Except the payoff in this circumstance, when you're looking at suppliers, if you're being serious about wholesale, is even if it takes you 100 no's to get your first yes, a yes from a big supplier, if that relationship is treated properly, that could be a win that lasts years and tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, you kind of keep the goal in mind as you're as you're trudging through. Kind of keep your eyes on the horizon.
Yeah. Truther, I've noticed check-in times and FC transfer times are surprisingly good this Q4. I would agree. They are much better than they've been in the past. I think Amazon is really dialing in their new inbound processes. Only took them 25 years. Yeah, Corey, I haven't had a sale in over 15 minutes. Today is a disaster. I saw this. I think I saw this posted not once but twice, and I finally retweeted one. But yeah, there are some sellers who think that a down sales day is a kind of a leading indicator of broader macroeconomic trends, and it kind of makes me chuckle sometimes. But it'll come back, and it'll be even better next year when you start using a repricer, Corey.
I knew you wouldn't let that slide.
Yep, absolutely. Dude, Funko Pops are the best. One of my favorite things to sell.
Yeah, I kind of hope I hope they're able to survive.
Me too. I'd like to think that even if they do have to file bankruptcy, that somebody picks up their IP and continues on with it.
Yep.
They just seem to sell. Polly, do you keep track of items that are returned to you unsellable, like what you did with it, sell on eBay, Marketplace, etc.? Not very well. I don't have a good process for it. Matter of fact, I'm looking at some items right here on my desk that are small that have just been returned, and thinking about what I need to do with them.
Yeah, same here. I have a tab on my sourcing sheet for stuff that comes back that I list on eBay, but not very good at it at all. And I've never used it though. Like my CPA just doesn't. We haven't gotten that granular, so that's just kind of perpetuates the issue.
Yeah. Let's see here. Sorry, let me grab this. Can you drop the donate site in the chat? Yeah, I will drop that in the chat. Absolutely. There's a link right there. AMZ with me. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed that. Mega sourcing call was awesome. Used the skills last night and listed 8 new SKUs. That's beautiful. It's awesome. Exactly what we do this for. Sweet. Big T, thank you, man. I appreciate you. Luke coming in as well. That's awesome, man.
Nice. Appreciate it.
Mike. So here's what it is. You donate $100 to the Movember Foundation through the QR code or the link down below or in the show notes or in the chat now. And I'm going to give you a lead list that'll have $1,000 of profit on it. Now that could be 10 leads. It could be 25 leads, whatever I have to do to get to $1,000 minimum profit. That's what I will source for you guys. They'll be sourced by me. I will not let my team source them. I'll be doing it myself. I'll give you access to our brute force ungating guide, and I'll give you the replay for the sourcing, the source-a-thon we did, which is 6 hours of sourcing, answering questions, sharing ideas, and that kind of thing. Yeah, Shannon, absolutely. Chips on shoulders, put chips in pockets. It's one of my favorite sayings. I've had a chip on my shoulder for 12 years because of something one of my family members said. Big T got an IP complaint from Jockey. Interesting. On a zero competition listing and a really slow seller. All inventory comes from Kohl's, and I have the invoices. What do you do and in what order? So let me ask this. For the IP complaint, is it a counterfeit without a test buy? I just need to know that, and then I'll let you know.
Corey, appreciate the donation, man.
Yeah, thank you. And for those of you who do donate $100, please shoot me an email to chris@cleartheshelf.com with a copy of your receipt. That way I can get you all the things that I owe you. Lounger, great seminar the other night. Was wondering if it's downloadable, and also for Chris's list, I signed up. What's the difference between the Alpha and the Sigma? So that video is not downloadable, but that StreamYard link is still up. I should probably move it over to a Vimeo just to make it a little bit easier, but I'll leave that StreamYard link up and you can watch it anytime. Chris, you can answer about Alpha and Sigma.
Yeah, I offer two different lists, the Alpha list and the Gamma list. I think that's what you meant. Although I do understand the confusion. Sigma list sounds like a badass one. Maybe that'll be my next one if I add another. But Alpha and Gamma, Alpha is capped at 20 sellers, and that is $99 a month. These are all weekend lists. That's all I'm working on right now. 20, seller cap of 20 sellers, $99 a month. If you want a bit more exclusivity, you can go with Gamma. That caps at 15 sellers, and that runs $139 a month. So it's really just a matter of how exclusive you want the distribution of the list to be.
Mm-hmm. And you can find that over at oaleads247.com.
Sigma should be
one seller. Yeah, absolutely. Big T, do me a favor. If you'll take some screenshots and message them to me, then I will I'll help you through that. All right. I'll help you through that. JD, Podcast with Joy is a must watch. Tons of info. Thanks for that. Learned a lot of valuable information. Absolutely. Yeah, we thought that was a pretty good one.
Yep.
And Stacy, hey, I currently sell about 40K per month with 100 active ASINs. When should I start using a reprice? Immediately. You should have a repricer right now. It's
$30,000 a month ago.
Yeah. It is absolutely time right now. I'll tell you what, Stacy, do me a favor, reach out to me, shoot me an email or shoot me a DM, whatever. I'm going to send you links for the 2 repricers that I suggest to people. Try them both out. Okay. Go through the onboarding sequence of both of them, and see which one you end up liking better, and then use whichever one you like better. Because it is time.
I know, but also congratulations. Like that's
Absolutely.
40 grand on just 100 ASINs manually repriced. Good for you.
Yeah, that's beautiful. All right. Let's I get it, man. You got to take care of the baby. Let's talk a little news, and then we will answer more of your guys' questions. So, the very first one, we've talked about this already. We've talked about the seller challenge that Amazon launched, and you get it if you have account health assurance. Now, we talked about it before it was actually live in people's accounts, or at least most people's accounts. Um, but it is live as of like a day or two ago. So if you have account health assurance, meaning you've got a 250 or better account health score for 6 months, you can use a seller challenge. And Amazon says to request more information about enforcements on your account. However, we're seeing that if you go through all of the standard appeals options and you send that information via the seller challenge, they're getting taken away. They're saying, "Oh yeah, you're good to go." All right. So it's really more than just requesting more detailed information. It's not like getting a phone call from account health and them saying, "I'm sorry, I can't answer that question." Uh, Amazon says that Seller Challenge provides you with the opportunity to request reviews of eligible listing level policy decisions 3 times every 180 days. That's 3 times every 6 months for those of you in Ann Arbor. These reviews will be reviewed by a trained team, uh, what some might call a concerned team, whose aim is to provide a decision within 48 hours. And it says you can provide additional documentation to support your case. And if it's accepted, any previous decision will be overturned and your listing will be reinstated. If you fail, you get that challenge back in 6 months. Okay. So you don't lose it forever. It's not like 3 times you're out. You get to replenish that lost challenge once every 6 months. If you win, you get the challenge back. Someone was obviously watching the NFL when they came up with this idea. Uh, and this is an optional benefit. You don't have to use it. But of course, Amazon says it is there for some tricky things. They're going to be doing an Ask Amazon event on the seller forums on December the 3rd, if you want to learn more about it. But I mean, I'm not going to go to that. Maybe I'll go read it afterwards. But I have seen 2 people so far use it with positive results when people are when they know they're in the right. So if you're one of those people like, oh well, Amazon just screwed me over, but you bought the item from a thrift store, like the seller challenge is not going to help you. But if you've got all your ducks in a row and you bought the item from Target and there's a listing level problem, I am seeing some positive results so far, and I'm pretty happy with this. I just hope it stays this way. Um, uh, my hope is the reason they limited this to 3 is so that this can't be abused like Jeff Bezos's email address was abused.
Yeah. You can argue how much faith you'll have in it, or how effective it'll be, but like the fact they put this in place is just objectively a positive, right? I mean, it's things get wonky, stuff goes sideways. Common sense doesn't always make an appearance, so having this available is undoubtedly a positive thing.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I see another question or two coming in. We're going to go through one more piece of news and then we'll keep answering questions for you guys. Second piece of news, Ford has partnered with Amazon for dealers to sell used vehicles on Amazon.com. So here's what's going to happen. Ford's franchised dealers will be able to sell certified pre-owned vehicles through Amazon. The new program will let customers secure financing, start their paperwork, and schedule a pickup time for vehicles at participating Ford dealers. The companies Amazon and Ford announced this past Monday. Um, Now, this deal comes a year after Amazon said it would allow auto dealers to sell cars through its site. And they started with vehicles from Hyundai, and then they just got Hertz on board as well, selling their used vehicles. And now we've got Ford coming into the mix. The deals between Amazon and the two automakers differ, of course. Hyundai's is selling new vehicles rather than certified pre-owned. Certified pre-owned vehicles are used, but they've been inspected, refurbished, and certified by the manufacturer or the dealer, and they're considered a better quality of used vehicles than cars without the designation, and they've got warranties like a new vehicle. It's exactly what Hertz is doing as well on Amazon. On Monday, Ford said that more than 160 of its roughly 2,900 US retailers have quote unquote raised their hands and started the process to onboard with Amazon. So far, about a dozen have fully onboarded and launched, with about 10 more launching next week. Ford said that it's going to offer, get this, a 14-day or 1,000-mile money back guarantee on every vehicle. So now there's a return policy on cars. So whichever comes first, 14 days or 1,000 miles on vehicles sold through this Amazon tie up. The automaker also is going to offer 3 different levels of their CPO or certified pre owned certification, and they'll have varying warranty coverages. Now, I just can't wait to see which repricer these dealers end up using, and what happens when one of them chooses the wrong one and sells a car for a penny.
True or false? Will Amazon just wrap it in a poly bag when they deliver
Most
it?
likely, most
Yeah.
likely.
Yeah. This is it's pretty cool overall. Interesting though. I wonder. I'd love to see what the considerations were for reputational risk when they decided to allow used cars. I was in the car business for not too long, but for a few years. Perception and reality are different often. you know, anything bad happens, that's a very upsetting thing for a customer. And even being certified pre-owned, obviously that doesn't. There's going to be a bad one in the batch. That's just going to happen. So, I think overall it feels like I don't know for a fact, but just having experienced it for a few years, I think car dealerships probably low average customer ratings overall.
Mhm.
It's not a very highly regarded profession. It's not like lawyers, but it's up there. I think aren't like used car salesmen just above lawyers, like on
I think so, and I mean, unfortunately, for good reason. Just leasing a car not too long ago, I was extremely disappointed with the lack of ethics that I saw.
well, and I tell you what, this is interesting because for Amazon to be progressive enough to adopt this kind of this is a new way of buying cars. With things like Carvana, the car vending machine, that seemed like a major roll of the dice, especially Carvana, that being the whole business. The purists, to buy a car without test driving it and having your mechanic look it over and all that stuff, you're taking a pretty big leap of faith, at least in whatever the warranty is that you're getting on it at the very least. But this is this is not without risk, we'll put it that way.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can't wait for the very first article that comes out that says I bought a car from Amazon and it caught on fire and burned my house down or something like that, because that's
Right.
coming. You
Oh,
know,
absolutely.
yeah, it's
Absolutely.
coming.
You
Um,
think about like traditional car salesmen now though. You have stuff like Carvana came in, Amazon's in the game now. It like the in-person car experience, it's bad and it's probably only going to get worse because they know that they're leaking market share to places like Carvana and now Amazon. And, the digital car buying experience is becoming more commonplace and more accepted, the more time goes on.
yeah.
Um, I actually said the last car that we bought, I actually had the guy with a straight face offer me a prepaid service package. And he pitched it a couple different times, and then he actually got to the point where he added up the entire the total amount I'd be paying for the service package, and with a straight face told me a number that was 50% of what I was buying the vehicle for. I looked at him, I said, you said that with a straight face. You think that I'm going to buy a service package? You think I'm going to add a 50% premium to this car? I said, put that away and don't talk to me about that anymore. It was the most ridiculous thing I had heard of.
Yeah. Yeah, I see all the joke. I mean, the jokes write themselves. The repricer jokes. Ships and product packaging jokes. Yeah, you guys are right on point there. All right, Deal Hunter. How can you test both repricers apple to apple? Can we use two repricers at the same time? You can use two repricers at the same time, just not on the same ASINs. The only way to really compare them apples to apples on the same ASINs is going to be using one at a time. But I'm not, it doesn't matter to me whether you use one repricer for 2 weeks and then another repricer for 2 weeks and you get a month free repricing and then decide which one's better for you, or if you test them both at the same time across different parts of your catalog. It doesn't really matter. There's not a perfect way to test them in a vacuum. You just kind of have to figure out which one moves at the volume I like, which one is, keeping my prices where I want them, and all of that stuff. And then UI and stuff like that, and customer service is also going to be a point you want to pay attention to. Sorry, guys. See if there's any questions here. What's the return policy going to be like? 14 days or 1,000 miles? All right. Guys, again, if you have any questions, let us know. I got one more piece of news, and then we'll finish up your guys' questions. Uh, Rufus, Amazon's Rufus, its AI is getting smarter. Amazon has just added several new features to its artificial intelligence, known as Rufus, for customers. Number one, it got account memory. So Rufus will now kind of understand customers based on their individual shopping activity, in an effort to provide more personalized and relevant answers and product search results based on their prior search history and purchase history. Shoppers can also chat with Rufus and ask it to reorder items they've browsed or shopped in the past. That I love. I like that, especially if they're reordering something I sell without even looking at the price. Rufus will also be able to suggest alternatives if items are unavailable. Rufus is also going to get agentic AI capabilities where it can automatically add items to a customer's cart. Also, love this, which of course the customer can review before checking out. Customers can also ask it to share what shopping information it remembers about them, add in new information to help inform its recommendations, and make any corrections. Um, In the future, Rufus is also going to have memory of shopper activity across Amazon's digital services, such as Kindle, Prime Video, and Audible. Um, I'm cool with this. This should be an interesting addition. But in
Mhm.
along with that, there's going to be new text and visual search features to help people discover products based on their activity, based on an event or a purpose. So let's say, for example, like what items do I need to host a Frozen themed birthday party for my daughter? Well, it's going to tell you first that all the parents are going to hate you for having to come to a child's birthday party that's Frozen themed. And then, secondly, it's going to tell you what you need to purchase to actually have that birthday party. And it'll show you cake decorations and tableware and games and party favors and all that stuff. And then it'll even add all of those to the cart for you without you having to go and shop. There's also a price tracker. Now, this has been out for a little while. We've seen this, but you can get a 30 and 90-day price tracker on any particular item if you ask Rufus. You can see the price history. You can also, if you're a Prime member, set an alert to be notified when a product hits a target price point and ask Rufus to automatically buy that item for you. I also like this. I'm not against this. I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, this is going to push prices down and people are going to wait. And it won't, but it may auto buy some things and people may just want 50 cents off. Like it's pretty cool. Um, Customers will also receive a notification with free 24-hour cancellation after Rufus orders something on their behalf. And then finally, a deal finder. This one may be one of the best things here. Customers can use Rufus to search by price to find items that fit their budget, such as men's jeans under $40. And it'll comb through Amazon's selection to curate personalized deals every day of the year, including during promotional events like Black Friday. Um, that's a good thing too. I know people are like, oh, well, it's only going to be if there's a deal on stuff. Well, your price might be a pretty good deal. I don't see a whole lot of downside from these additions if it's going to get people to stay on the page longer, which is what I know that's what Amazon's wanting. They want a longer time on page, which is going to equal larger average order values, which is going to equal more money, not only in Amazon's pocket, but in turn, our pockets.
That's exactly it. Um, I mean, I don't know if they call it the same thing, but we've talked about dwell time with Costco. Because every minute a person spends in a Costco is equal to $1.75 in revenue and sales, which is why they have the hot dog deal that they do, to try to have the person that doesn't want to be there eat a hot dog while the person that does want to be there has more time to shop. It's the same thing. This is the longer you spend on Amazon, it makes sense the more you're going to buy. Yeah, I don't see much of a downside at all on this. This is, in fact, I see this as a huge positive. You're going through the list of all these details, and I'm just like, that's less friction. That's less friction. That's less friction. Like, that is the biggest thing you can do to boost sales is remove more friction for the buyer. I mean, this is all, I mean, think about it. Like, did you notice an improvement in your relationship using ChatGPT when they introduced history?
Yes.
Yeah, I certainly did. I thought that was a massive improvement, like not having to restate things, having it know, even its answers are like knowing that you're an arbitrage Amazon seller, and then it customizes its outputs, So, I mean, this is the same thing, from a an Amazon customer perspective. This is awesome. I already use Rufus in my sourcing. I will ask Rufus, if I'm not sure or maybe there's a little bit of confusion on whether it's a single unit or a 3-pack, I'll ask Rufus. And what it does is it basically combs through the product detail page, and it gives me an answer definitively. So
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, the more they improve this, I think it's overwhelmingly positive for us.
absolutely. Yeah, I'm 100% on board. Yeah, Shannon, can't wait to do an Amazon to Amazon flip with a car. I'll tell you what, the first person to do an Amazon to Amazon flip with a car, I'll buy you a t-shirt. I'll make you a t-shirt, send it to you. It'll be great.
And if Vegas did odds on that, Saul would be by far the favorite to be the
Oh
first one.
yeah. Syed, hey, I've got a product where several sellers are selling, but when I list it, it gives me a generic 5886 error. How come those sellers are able to sell? I'm not 100% sure. Here's what I think, though. I think that those sellers may have gotten on the listing before that hidden generic error started throwing, and they've just stayed in stock, because you can restock on those, but you can't list new if you've never had it in your account before. So that's my guess.
Didn't the message at one point in time even have verbiage along those lines?
It did. Yeah, that's where I was getting that information.
Yeah, I thought I remembered that.
Oh, I see what you did there, Luke. I appreciate that. All right. Deal Hunter. Can the email you use for your Amazon business account be the same email you used for your seller account? It can, yes, but I would not suggest it. I would suggest a different email. Now, let's just say that your email is dealhunter@gmail.com. It could be dealhunter.a2a@gmail.com. That's fine. I wouldn't use a plus. I would use a dot. But yeah, it doesn't need to be anything crazy. I would just mix it up a little bit.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but in this example, dealhunter@gmail.com and dealhunter.a2a@gmail.com get delivered to the same inbox, correct?
They do. Yes. Anything after the dot should go to the same email address.
Yeah, which is another benefit of doing it that way. You appear to have two distinct emails, but it's a little bit easier to manage when you actually get messages.
Absolutely. All right. If you guys have any other questions, we're happy to answer for a few minutes. I will give you one last call to action. If you want to donate a few bucks to Movember, we'd love to have you on board. I think there is. Let's see. There's four. We got 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got 8 people who've taken advantage of the offer that I put out there. $100 gets you $1,000 in leads, in profit of leads from me directly. You get access to the replay of our 6-hour live sourcing session, and I'll give you the brute force ungating guide for $100 donation. There's 2 spots left. That's it. And then we won't be able to do any more. I wanted to limit that. But yeah, if you want to take advantage of that, you can hit the link below in the show notes, use the QR code, use the link in the chat, use the link in the banner. And yeah, Mike, I saw you in there. I appreciate that. For anybody who did donate, shoot me an email to chris@cleartheshelf.com. That's fantastic. Very, very close.
Yeah, 236 away.
That's awesome. Shoot me an email to chris@cleartheshelf.com with your receipt, and I will make sure that you get access to everything. Probably going to get that all out tomorrow evening, Friday morning at the latest.
I appreciate you all. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that was awesome. All right, guys. Well, I think we may have done it there. We'll wrap it up there for today. Chris will be back on Sunday. I'm going to be driving, unfortunately, but Chris will be here to guide you on Sunday, and I'll be back next Wednesday to do this all over again with you on Thanksgiving Eve. Appreciate you guys, and until next time, good selling.